Okay, Drushim, Likutei Torah, Drushim for Yom Kippur on page Samel Ches. First column. Shh. So he says, Levadi, Yom Kippurim, to explain the Inyan of Yom Kippur. So he says, Kosev Echadayim, one pasuk says about Yom Kippur. Shabbos Shabbosin Hu Lochem, that it's Shabbos Shabbosin Hu, which is masculine. Uksiv Echadayim, another pasuk says, Shabbos Shabbosin Hi Lochem, which is feminine. So the question is it Hu Lochem, which is masculine, or is it Hi Lochem, which is feminine? So he says, Hine Amar Azal, Over al Mitzvah Sesa V'Shov. The person transgresses a positive mitzvah and does tshuva, he does get forgiven right away. And he then, if he transgresses a negative mitzvah and does tshuva, so he says, tshuva teila, tshuva makes it still hanging, okay? So basically, the Gemara says in Yuma, this is the beginning of a Gersa tshuva. He calls this Gemara, shh. He says, a positive mitzvah, you do tshuva, you get forgiven right away. A negative mitzvah is harder to do tshuva. You need not only tshuva, you need Yom Kippur also. So he says, for the Havans that to understand, the mitzvah says, say, adifa. L'cheira, it would imply from this Gemara that the tshuva of a loisasa is harder than the tshuva of a mitzvah saseh. Mitzvah saseh, as soon as you do tshuva, you're forgiven. And loisasa, you need Yom Kippur also. But l'cheira, we know a rule, mitzvah eseh deich loisasa. If there's all possibility of doing a positive mitzvah, but by doing a positive mitzvah, you're going to desecrate a negative mitzvah, that transgresses a negative mitzvah, the positive mitzvah pushes off the negative mitzvah, which means Asa is more important than Loisasa. So why is the tshuva for a mitzvah saseh easier than for a Loisasa? So he says, in Eksiv, it says in the pasuk, Shuva Elai, Hashem says, return to me, Vashuva Aleichem, I'll return to you. Hashem says, let's make a deal. You return to me, I'll return to you. Uksiv, and another pasuk says, Hashiveinu Hashem elach v'nashuva. Hashem says, return to me, and we will return. It means, let's go back to face. Returning the face to face. Meaning, because when a person sins, it says, Panu alai eida v'lai panim. When a person sins, the pasuk says, you turn your back to me, not your face. So when a person sins, it's back to face relationship. But when a person does tshuva, then Hashem says it's back face to face. What? Like the kruvim, yes. He says, Shafilu b'shas achet, even at the time of a sin. L'shayach le'merav yisparach sherichak Hashem esa'adam b'richak mamish. You can't say, when a person sins, Hashem is pushing him away. Why? Because our Malach is Kvede. Hashem's all over. And there's no place which is void from him. So when Hashem pushes a Jew away from him, it's not shaykh, Hashem's all over. And that level, that Hashem is still connected to the Jew, that he gives the Jew the strength. Even at the time of the sin, Hashem is still connected to the person. Like the Gemara says, even while you're sinning, you were trustworthy with Hashem. Even while you're sinning, you're still connected. Like we said the other day, the Rabbi didn't like the expression Kiruv Rechaikim, because the Rabbi said no Jew is far. But here, the Alter Rebbe says just like logistically, if Hashem's all over, you can't say a Jew is far. Because what do you far? Hashem's all over. So what does it mean? It says, say two people standing mamish next to each other. But but they're not facing each other. They're facing the opposite direction. So even though physically they're mamish next to each other, but they're literally the whole world away from each other. Why? So there's no closeness. So they're back to back. But he said, so the Alter is explaining what's the inyan of tshuva. Tshuva is not chas v'shalom Hashem's far from you, but Hashem is like back to back. Versus when you do tshuva, Hashem says, return to me, turn around to me, and I'll turn around to you. But by the tshuva, it becomes back face to face. To understand what this means, we'll understand it by much closer what it says in the pasuk. Shamru b'nei Yisrael says Shabbos. The Jews say Shamru b'nei Yisrael. The Jews should keep Shabbos. Why? Ki hinei inyan Shabbos. What is the inyan of Shabbos? Shabbai Shabbos Hashem rested. Ki sheishes yamim asas Hashemayim v'sa'aretz. Hashem created 6 days. He created heaven and earth. Hainu shehish b'lezatz mikaviyachol. It means Hashem lowered himself, so to speak. And he lowered himself in the 10 utterances to give existence and life to the low people, low things. In Chitzenis Malchusi is Baruch Levad. Okay, let me just explain what the Alter Rebbe is saying. The Alter Rebbe is saying like this. Resting, B'chlal, when Torah says Hashem rested, okay, Shavas, Kivay Shavas, Hashem rested. It doesn't mean Hashem lay down in the bed and rested. He worked hard, and now he has to take a rest. Okay, but what does it mean? When a person works, they get tired, so to speak. Why does a person get tired? Because the koyach they have went into the thing they're building. They build a table. So the koyach that I have now is going into the table. And by the way, the Maggid was able to tell, he looked at a thing and he saw the person was blind in one eye, not because it was crooked, because he saw the koyach that's in it. So a person's koyach goes into it, so you get tired. That means you don't have koyach, right? That's tired means I don't have koyach. So now you rest, the koyach has come back. So he says, Hashem lowered himself. What do you mean Hashem? 6 days in Shabbos. During the week, Hashem had to limit himself into the name of Elokim, into the level of tzimtzum and limitation to create a physical world. So Hashem had to kaviyachol lower himself. Not that he got tired. Hu amar vayehi. You speak one word, you don't get tired. Hashem created the whole world. Hu amar vayehi. The whole world. B'reishut bara. So what does it mean? Hashem had to lower himself to come into the world. So what happens on Shabbos? That chayis, that Hashem now limited himself into the world, now is elevating itself back to the source of the infinite Hashem. Vayechulu Hashemayim v'aretz, expression of kiloyin, not only finished, kiloyin, meaning it elevated itself back to where it came from. That means during the week, Kishba, Satmi, Liber, Lachidrok, Shvam, Chesenis, Malchus, Silavar, Likutei Malchus, Malchus, Kol Elam. Shezav is called element that the creation of all worlds and their chayas only comes in the level of Malchus, which is the lowest of all levels. The lowest sphere is Malchus, which is Dibur. So how did Hashem create the world? We say Malchus Cha, Malchus Kol Elamim. It was all created from the level of Malchus. It's not the way Hashem creates the world, in this respect, is not similar to where the neshama mechayes aguf. That the neshama mamish dresses itself into the body, v'yesh bo his pilus, and the neshama is affected from the happenings and the changes in the body. In other words, when a person is healthy, the neshama is functioning more. When a person is sick, so there's no keli so the neshama is functioning less. So there's a change in the neshama, how much it functions, more or less. But Masha'en, it says on the Avai Lo Shanisi Ksiv, She'en Beishum Shinui Chas Sholim, that there's no change whatsoever in Elokus. Mitzad Ribi Anivraim, even though there's billions and trillions of creations, like it says, Atu Achalei Nivra Ha'elam, you are there before the world was created, Atu Mishinivra, which means not only Hashem was there before Hashem was there, the same way, the same Ata that was there, Kaidem Shinivra Ha'elam, that only you existed, Ata, the same Ata, is Mishinivra Ha'elam, that nothing exists but you. Because Hashem doesn't come into the worlds. La chayusim in the level of pnimius muhusiv atmusi is barich. In the essence of Hashem, it's only rakis pashti ziva arimimani is barich. It's only a slight revelation of Hashem. Sha'al ebertzayne that he desired the esmelech aleim to be a king, like the whole inyan of Rosh Hashanah. So Hashem, in a very limited way, decided, okay, I want to be king. So he wanted, did what he wanted. The Sava Kodesh Baruch Hu. Hashem is a king whether we're here or not. In fact, there's many Maamarim and Chassidus and the Tefillah, Adonai Elam Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzur Nivra. Right? It's every day in davening. Adonai Elam, master of the world, Hashem Malach that ruled, B'terem Kol Yitzur Nivra, before anything was created. The question is, Ein Melech B'layam, how can Hashem rule if there's no world? You need something to be subjugated. Chassidus explains that Malchus Lifnei Atzimtum all the way, all the way up there. Okay, whatever. But the bottom line is, Hashem decided he wants a world, he wants a Dira V'Tachtenim, so he has to create a world, which like we learned before is Chitzenis HaMalchus, not the Pnimis of what Hashem really wants. You see, he wants a world because he wants you want to work because you want to make money. So you want to work, it's Chitzenis.
Hashem, because of the Jews calling him Melech on Rosh Hashanah, that he's the Melech.
Yeah.
So that early in the morning Rosh Hashanah, he decides to be the Melech.
He says, if you accept me, I accept. Now what would happen, I don't know. What would happen if everybody goes on strike and nobody does shayfer, nobody does psuk, hypothetically. What would happen? Don't try it. Huh?
At the beginning, nobody blew the shofar.
Right. That was Chafetz Chesed, Chesed Yibana. The world was created with Chesed because there was no Adam. There was no Adam Lavid Adama. There was no Aveda yet. First 26 generations. There's Prat and Klal. The first 26 generations, Kila Elam Chazdei 26 times. Because the Medrash says, Kila Elam, this that was a world, was Chazdei, the Chesed of Hashem. Because there was no Matan Torah yet. In a different sense, the 6 days of creation were Elam Chesed Yibana, and then Adam, not Matan Torah, but Adam. Daved Allah Avdul Shamra.
But now we coronate him.
Correct. But that means as follows. Hashem decided and wanted, not needs. Hashem wanted, therefore you could say he needs it because he wants it. Well, now that I want it, I need it. That the Jews accept him as king, so now I become king. That's what I want. I want you to accept me as king. So the Jews accept Hashem as king, they become his king.
That's his toy.
That's his toy.
So if nobody goes to, the whole world will clap.
The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, the Mashiach is going to come, either simply do what the Gemara says, Ilu kula chayev or kula zakai. Either the whole world is going to be guilty or the whole world will be innocent. So somebody this is what the person said. They asked the Rabbi in Yechidus, so maybe it will be easier to make kula chayev. Everybody should be guilty. Nobody keep Torah mitzvahs, then Mashiach will come. And the other way is already you're going to get so many Jews,
Right, that's what Muslims do.
So the Rebbe said that he himself and Katzenella begging from the Torah Karta are not going to let it. That will not happen. So Kula Chai is not going to be. There's also a famous story when Russia was fighting Napoleon. The French-Russian War. So it's a big argument amongst the Gedolei Yisrael. Who should win, Russia or Napoleon? And the point was like this: if Napoleon won, it would have been better Gashmis for the Jews. If Russia won, it would be better Ruchnis for the Jews. So the Alter Rebbe wanted Russia, and Baruch Mezhebush wanted Napoleon. Okay? And it boiled down to who's going to blow shofar first in Rosh Hashanah. So the Baruch Mezhebush got up as soon as he was allowed to daven. He quickly davened and he blew shofar. The Alter Rebbe got up. The Alter Rebbe didn't blow shofar. The Alter Rebbe got up and blew shofar right away before davening. Before davening. Nothing. He's talking about spiritual. The Alter Rebbe didn't blow shofar. He says why? The Alter Rebbe said himself, because when do you learn how to blow shofar? When you're a kid. You learn to blow shofar. The Alter Rebbe said he was never a kid. So he never played around learning how to, so he never blew. The Rebbe writes, it seems that the Rebbe probably also didn't blow. Anyway, weiter. Okay, that when he wanted to be Chayotz and that he's their king. Like it says, Herde Yalad, it says Shemoyim, right? Herde means a ray of his ziv. Kinizgav Shmoy Levadei, Herde is not Herde of his essence, it's of his name. His Pash is doing this manifestation. Nachshav es Yedid of Ashpalo Gedela. It's considered a tremendously great descent. Lagabe HaKadosh Baruch Hu, P'chinas P'nimius of the P'nimius of Hashem. Because the Chitzenius came into the world. So compared to the P'nimius, it's a very low level. Therefore, so all the Keiches now went into the Chitzenius. B'yayim HaShabbos Nesala P'chinas P'nimius Ein Baruch Hu. And therefore, that's called Shvisa Etzlei. That's called resting, because resting means the Keiches go back to their source. So Hashem's power of limitation that created the world now goes back to its source. Al Derech Moshul says like this: Ka'odam HaMedaber, like a person who speaks. Shebeshosh HaMedaber, when a person speaks, Mitzamsim Sichlei, he limits his seichel u'merid b'adiburim. Okay. Person, any speech is limiting, no matter what you're revealing. Whether it's a midah, if you say I love you, it's still limiting the midah. If you explain something up seichel, the words are limiting the seichel. The seichel is much more than the words. So he says, kasher eino reitzel adaber, and then when he decides not to talk, preisig v'shevis, he rests. Then all the seichel lemkeirei, the seichel and the midah that you brought down through the word now goes back to its source. So, and even infinitely more so. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining the level of tshuva. So he says, let's understand Shabbos. Shabbos is toshev. Shabbos is the concept of tshuva. So Shabbos is the level of during the week Hashem's keiches come down. Like a person who works, you get tired. Then it goes back. So the Alter Rebbe gave a mush of a person working and a person talking. He says infinitely more so is the concept of Shabbos. It goes even infinitely greater than Chochmah. Compared to Hashem, which is infinite, Chochmah, which is the highest level, a seesaw, which is the lowest level, are all the same. Like you said, like we say in davening, kulam b'chachma asisa. Simply, right after Baruch, right, we say kulam b'chachma asisa. Simply, it means you created everything with chachma. Why? Because Bereshis, Bara Lekim, Bereshis is the level of b'chochmasa. Okay, so simply, kulam b'chachma asisa means that Hashem, He created everything with chachma. Chassidus explains, no, kulam in the whole realm of things, in the scheme of things, chachma and asisa are the same. Kulam, everything, chachma, asisa is the same level. Because by Hashem, that it was infinite, the highest limitation and the lowest limitation are the same.
But if that's the case, thinking about putting tefillin on is closer to the Shama than putting the tefillin on.
No.
That's what it's saying. Chokhmah is higher than Asiyah.
No, I'm saying chachma and asiyah are the same thing.
For Hashem.
Yeah. But by us, Hashem says, this is an action world. This is ilam asiyah. In action, thinking about something doesn't help you do it.
Not even the Neshama.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. You can have all the good intentions you want. You don't do it, it ain't nothing. It ain't worth nothing. So this world is an action world.
Over here it says the Chokhmah is much higher.
Yeah.
We know that Chokhmah is much higher.
Yeah, but that's why Hashem lowered Himself into Dira b'tachteinim. Tachteinim means action, not seichel. Like it says, Antu chakim v'lei b'chachmi yediyah. This refers to, we say in Pasuk Leo, but it refers to Chachma v'Atzilis, that you are the level of Chachma, but not in the known Chachma. Like the Alter Rebbe says in Torah and Pasuk Leo, it's the source of Chachma. Vishi Yisrael, all of b'machshava. But Chazal say, Eden are come in the highest level of machshava, like it says, Atu nefach to be. Uman de nafach. And whoever blows from his essence, or like he says, Maamar Azal, Mi'ayin Basom, he says in Pirkei Avos, Stakel b'shleisha dvarim, you won't come to sin. Mi'ayin Basom, u'lo nata helech. Okay, from where you come and where you go. But Chassidus explains, Mi'ayin Basom means you come, not where you think where you're coming from. You come from the level of ayin. Shalamaletz esa einay lahorim. Not a question. May ayin from where Yovei Ezri. May ayin from the level of ayin Yovei Ezri. The Gemara says ein mazel Yisrael. Simply means Jews are above mazel. But Chassidus explains, don't mean it ein. Ayin mazel Yisrael. The level of ayin which is higher than all that, that's the Jewish mazel. Because Jews are higher than mazel, from the level of ayin. Shebachin Yosemadregis Yisrael. Gevaya Me'ibnai is infinitely greater. From the level of his Pashtas Chitzenius Malchusa. The world is created with Malchus. Yidden all over Machshava, not only in Machshava, the highest level. Therefore it says the Shama B'nai Yisrael as a Shabbos. Therefore, Alter Rebbe started by this whole thing by saying the Shama B'nai Yisrael as a Shabbos. What does it mean? Okay, simply it means you don't desecrate Shabbos, right? Shabbos Yom Shabbos. He says no. What does it mean? The Shom of Bnei Yisrael says Shabbos. L'skadish b'kedushas yizborich. That we should have the same level of kedusha of Hashem and Shabbos. Meaning, the way everything is not limited in world, but the way everything is the infinite source of ayin. Li'eh Shabbat Hashem Elokecha. Hashem said, between me and you, now when you say between me and you, that means we're on the same level. Between me and you, that means we're on the same level. Hashem is saying, me and the Jews are on the same level. When is that Shabbos? When the Jews elevate their neshama. That's why Malacha is forbidden on Shabbos, because Malacha means connection to world, and this is infinitely greater. in the level of Sheish Tisham and Chitzeni Sasiya, Kadei Panasasi Taf Panasa. Yeh Mashvi Shabbos Hashem Elokecha. Mis'ala b'mekeda goes back to the original source of everything. Li batal ela l'davka be'yizbarich. And that's, he says, nachzoris panim l'panim. During sin, you're standing next to each other, worlds apart. The whole world. Like the Medrash says, one opinion, and the Megillah says, Mehedu bat kush. So one opinion, the Gemara says they're on opposite ends of the world. And another opinion says they're next to each other. So what does it mean? Heidu bat kush? It says Malach Bekipa, he was a Melech over the world. It means like this way. Heidu kush, he could be standing next to him, but he could be worlds apart, like he said. What is the level of Shabbos Toshev? That a Jew goes back to the level of Elokus, which is higher than world.